In the last episode, we discussed how we can identify which test suites are important to be part of our delivery pipeline. Today, we're going to talk about how we can identify which tests to include in our test suites. In an earlier episode, I discussed the importance of fast feedback in DevOps. A big component of that is how short or how long your feedback loop is. When we talk about testing scope and testing coverage, it's easy for us to add more tests. But every test we add increases the length of our feedback loop. Conversely, every test we choose not to add will increase our risk, assuming that test was valid. So, Bytes Dijkstra has some good advice here on how to determine if tests should be included. A good high-level filter is to ask yourself a couple of questions. For every test you add, do we really need the information provided by this test for every build? Is for every test not added, are we okay with not having this information provided by this test for every build? That high-level filter is great for determining which tests to include, but that's not enough. If your automated tests are going to be part of a continuous testing environment, then they need to be ready to run anytime on demand. And as we've already discussed, they need to provide fast, accurate, and meaningful feedback. Bytes Dijkstra has also come up with a great acronym for reminding us about the qualities to look for when determining if your automated tests are fit for continuous testing, and that's FITR. It stands for Focused, Informative, Trustworthy, and Repeatable. This gets back to the test automation pyramid concept. Let's say the purpose of your test is to test a tax calculation that's performed by an API. And let's also say that you create a test that attempts to do that by checking the value on an invoice total field in the UI. Now you find an issue. The total invoice value isn't what you expected. It could be because the API has an issue, or it could be one of many other things. You've set yourself up for a long investigation. If your tests are focused, that will certainly help them to be more informative, but you can do more. For the test itself, it should be as self-documenting as possible. Someone looking at it should understand its intent. Similarly, the output, or the logging and reporting, should provide feedback as to what happened if an issue is encountered. If a test encounters an issue because it couldn't locate a UI object, I don't want to see a stack trace. I want to know what field it was trying to find, the locator that was being used, and probably a screenshot. This is a big one. If you're going to be part of the build pipeline and you're part of a culture that stops the process if an issue is encountered, your tests have to be trusted. If they can't be trusted, they'll lose the privilege of being part of the pipeline, or they'll just be ignored. If your tests are going to be kicked off automatically by some event that you're not controlling, they better be ready to go. This usually means that you've taken care of business with respect to test environment and data management. We'll talk about those aspects in later episodes. Thank you for watching this episode of QA Bytes. Tune into the next episode where we'll discuss the importance of test environment management and enabling effective automation in testing.